welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Emma Rose, and I'm an integrative somatic practitioner, a sound and vibrational therapy practitioner, a somatic ritual embodiment guide, and a trauma-informed parts work facilitator. My work's focused on helping people come back into relationship with their bodies and their inner world in a way that feels really safe and grounded and respectful of our nervous system's timing. So today I want to talk about parts work, and I want to talk about it in a way that's very practical, not from a place of theory or clinical language, but how it actually shows up in real life and how to work with your parts when you feel stuck, or maybe when you're feeling overwhelmed or self-critical, or there's an inner conflict that you're experiencing. If you've ever felt like a part of you wants one thing, while another part pulls in the opposite direction, then this conversation might resonate for you and be helpful in some way. Parts work it's really based on the understanding that the psyche or the mind, it's not just one unified voice. We're made up of many different parts, or we can call these aspects of ourselves that formed over time to help us survive, to adapt, and to stay safe. So when you hear inner messages like, I should be doing more, or I don't want to deal with this, or I'm fine, it's not a big deal, or I'll just start that project tomorrow. These aren't character flaws, these are parts speaking. Most people already experience parts every day. We're just not taught language for them yet, how to relate to them, how to engage with them. So these parts are showing up constantly in our daily life and in our relationships. You might feel the need to rest, for example, but another part immediately labels you as lazy. You might want to speak up or set a boundary with someone, but another part tightens your chest and urges you to stay quiet. You might feel like you want to move forward with something, but something inside keeps avoiding or procrastinating. And the idea is to really understand that none of these parts are bad. Most of them are protective, even if and when their strategies don't feel supportive or they feel complicated. And where people often get stuck is something that we call blending. And blending happens when a part thinks there's a threat and it takes over the system so completely that we then believe that part is who we are. Instead of noticing a thought or a feeling, we identify with it and we say things like, I am lazy, I'm broken, I always mess things up. That's not the truth of who you are. It's the voice of a part that you're blended with in that moment. And healing doesn't come from getting rid of our parts. It comes from unblending from them, which is creating just a little bit of space between you and the part. So a simple way to begin unblending is beginning to shift our language. So instead of saying, I am anxious, try saying, a part of me feels anxious. And this small shift can create such noticeable space. Often our breath might begin to soften, our body might settle a little. And this unblending is when you're no longer hijacked or taken over by this part. You're sitting with it, observing it. So let's slow this down for a moment. And if you're open to it, I want to invite you to try this right now. Let's just take a gentle pause. You don't need to close your eyes. You don't need to change anything. Just take a moment and notice what's present in your body. Maybe a sensation, a feeling, a thought. And we can silently name a part of me feels, and then name what it is. And see what happens when you do that without trying to fix it or change it. And then once you maybe notice a little bit of space, you can gently turn towards the part with curiosity, just bringing curiosity in and maybe asking, what are you trying to protect me from? Or what are you afraid would happen if you didn't do this job? Maybe sensing, how old does this part feel? And you don't need immediate answers. It's not about forcing insight. It's about building the relationship between you and the part. And often our parts soften simply because they're finally being seen, they're finally being heard and not pushed away. So for example, let's just say maybe an inner critic shows up and says, you're not doing enough. Instead of immediately responding by fighting it or believing it, you might try to say, I'm noticing there's a critical part here, and I'm curious what it's worried about. And when you listen beneath the criticism, often you'll find there's fear. There's maybe fear of failure, rejection, maybe fear of being safe. And when we acknowledge that fear, that's when our system begins to shift. So this work, working with our parts, it's not about fixing yourself. It's about learning how to relate to yourself differently. And when you stop fighting your inner world and start listening to it, things naturally begin to soften in your body, your emotions, your choices, your relationships. If this resonated at all, I would love to hear in the comments which part has been showing up most for you lately. And if you'd like more videos like this, you can click subscribe so you don't miss any future conversations around trauma-informed parts work and somatic healing. And you're also welcome to stay connected through my website, which I'll link in the description, where I share offerings, I share events and gatherings, and spaces that I hold to do this work more deeply. Thank you so much for being here.